Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to this episode of Rush Roundtable.
Hello.
Okay, well, let me start over. Welcome to this episode of Rush Roundtable. This is the very first episode of 2023, so got a lot of fun topics coming up this year, a few surprises on our channel. But this one here is fan questions. So back in late November, early December, we posed on all three platforms that we have social media on: YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. We wanted our followers and subscribers to pose questions for some of our page admins, and I've gathered here myself and four of our awesome page admins who do not only you see them on YouTube and stuff on Rush Roundtable and Rush Deep Dive and things of that nature, but they are a huge part in making posts on Instagram, Twitter as well. So thanks to all you guys. And this is really just to get to know us a little bit more. A lot of these questions we specifically asked for preference type questions, no trivia. Of course, some people ask trivia. We're completely omitting trivia. And they're really just preference-based questions, or how did, or what do you think, or things like that. And we're going to go in the order you see on the screen. Rapid fire, go as quick as we possibly can. I'll read off who asked the question, so the person who asked the question can get their credit and their claim to fame. But let's get to it, shall we? You guys ready?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we're going to start with the YouTube questions. And apologies if I pronounce names wrong or usernames wrong. I'm doing my best and doing this as fast as possible. So the first one is Dagoth Wave from YouTube. What's your favorite Rush album cover, Jim?
Album cover?
Cover.
I'm going to go with Grace Under Pressure.
All right. I will go with Power Windows. Rob?
Caress of Steel.
Ryder?
Test for Echo.
Ralph?
Grace Under Pressure.
All right, 2 for Grace Under Pressure. Cool.
Grace Under Pressure was a very close second. It's the only one I'd consider getting anything on it tattooed on my body.
Heck yeah, man.
Q, Jim.
All right. Oh, wrong band.
Oh.
There it is.
There it is.
All right, here's another one. What if you ever got to see Rush live, what's your favorite concert memory? Jim.
Favorite concert memory? I think going to R40 in Denver with my son.
Okay. My favorite concert memory had to be I saw Five with my mother. My favorite concert was at SPAC, or favorite concert memory was at SPAC, where during Territories, Getty sings Spinning Round and Round. My mother and I decided to look at each other and start spinning round and round, much to the chagrin of the dad and son next to us, looking at us like we were crazy. So that's probably what sticks out. Rob?
Seeing them at Jones Beach in Long Island, New York, Uniondale, for Different Stages tour, where it was the Test for Echo tour. But and I'll see them again. I think of Ray Betrayals. I saw them play there again. So Jones Beach, seeing them outside at the beach, it's great.
Cool.
We'll have to skip Ryder for this one because he never saw the band live, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So,
I met Getty, so
yeah. There you go. Ralph?
Radio City Music Hall, the R30 tour is the last North American tour for that, or date for that.
Okay. These are all from the same person, so I'm going to skip some of these and kind of just pick and choose a few other ones from this same person. So who would win in a fist fight, Getty or Alex? Jim?
I guess I'll go with Alex because I think he's physically larger.
I will also go with Alex, considering he beat up some cops on New Year's Eve in like the year 2000 or whatever it was.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Rob?
I would say Big Al for sure. Yeah.
Ryder?
Alex has a positive record. I can't really go any other way.
Ralph?
Gotta go with Alex.
All right.
No, I don't think they'd ever get in a fist fight.
Let's
That's all
see. I thought that was just such a corny one, so we had to go with it.
Very, very bizarre. Yes.
All right. Yeah, okay, that's probably good for that. There's a whole block of questions there, but we'll go onto some other viewers here or other subscriber comments on YouTube. So this one's from Susie Schwanky. Can't remember. You told us how to pronounce your last name. I'm sorry. Have you ever had to defend your love for the band? Or were you lucky enough to know other Rush-minded people? So if you ever had to defend your love for the band, tell us who it was and how that happened. Jim?
No, I had some Rush-minded fans who are friends, so I did not really have to go into that too much.
Okay, I have to defend my love for the band every time I do a Rush roundtable because my wife does not like Rush. So there you go. Every time I want to do a Rush roundtable with you guys, I have to defend my love for the band. So there's that. Rob?
Yeah, I would say the same. My other half loves Rush. She never saw them play, so Ryder and my other half have very much in common. She wanted to see them perform live, but never got to. So, and yeah, I never had to fight for my Rush honor. It was always was there. Always had people that were into him, thankfully.
Being 16 in 2020, there's a lot of music that doesn't really align with Rush, so I've had to deal with a lot of that. But I think the people that have actually listened have turned around on it.
Ralph?
No, I think when I was in high school in the 80s, they were kind of popular, so everybody knew them.
Yep.
All right. Okay, this one's from Brian C on YouTube. He's got two questions. You're being sent to a desert island for the rest of your life, and you can only take 2 Rush albums with you. Which 2 do you take? Mine are power. He says mine are Power Windows and Presto. Jim?
Grace Under Pressure and Farewell to Kings.
Mine would be Power Windows and Snakes and Arrows. Rob?
I would say Signals and Vapor Trails.
Ryder?
I'm gonna have to go Signals and Farewell to Kings.
No Test for Echo. That's a shame. Ralph?
It is, isn't it?
Oh.
Power Windows and Clockwork Angels.
Okay, cool.
Right.
And Brian's second question is, what is one tour that you never got to go to that you absolutely would love to go back in time and see? His answer is the Presto tour. Jim?
The Down the Tubes tour. Caress of Steel. I would love to see more of that crap played live. Crap. That's not crap. 4 of those wonderful songs that I love played live.
All right. Mine would be the Snakes and Arrows tour, and I've told this story a handful of times. I wasn't enough into Rush at the time, and I ended up seeing Motley Crue that year instead of Rush because I was very young and only had the option to, well, 14, and parents said you could go to one or the other, and I went to the one that I was just more familiar with at the time. And looking back on it, yeah, bad move. So, and actually, there were two opportunities to do it. I saw Motley Crue both years. I looked at the calendar of that tour years later, and so yeah.
We've all seen Indiana Jones, right? You chose poorly.
I did. Rob?
Oh gosh, too many tours. I would like to have seen the earlier tours too. 2112. I would like to have seen that. That's like definitely a benchmark for me. Seeing the early stuff. So yeah, that'd be my answer.
Yeah. Ryder?
Sure.
I'd probably go Test for Echo tour. I mean, that was, they're starting to dip back into a lot of their older stuff. I mean, you got a lot of great stuff from Presto and Test for Echo and all of 2112. So like that just encompasses every Rush show that I missed right there.
There you go. Good one.
Ralph?
While they were recording Grace Under Pressure, they did a few nights at Radio City Music Hall.
Yeah.
And I was 13 and my mom wouldn't let me go. So I would love to see that.
Makes sense. All right, this one's from Nerd Bites. What is your favorite Neil Peart drum kit? Jim.
Ooh, my favorite Neil Peart drum kit would be the one that he used on Roll the Bones. It's a Ludwig, sort of a very dark, maybe purplish color. I'd have to kind of look it up. It looks sort of a dark, deep purple under the lights, but that is my favorite kit of his. I can find a picture if you want me to while y'all are talking.
If you want, go ahead.
Sure.
Mine would probably be R40. I loved all the designs that he had on the drum kit. I'm not a drum nerd. I look at the drum kit and I think what looks coolest. So that would be probably R40 for me.
There it is.
Rob?
I would say around Exit Stage Left, moving pictures, all the gadgets in this kit, all the percussion instruments in there. I love all that, all the acoustic stuff in there. And that I'm against electric, but that's my favorite kit.
Ryder?
I'm probably gonna have to go with the Grace Under Pressure one. I've been listening to a lot of Bill Bruford and all his stuff recently with all the Simmons electronic drums and stuff, and I just love the look of the hexagon pads.
They look
a
so
crazy look.
freaking cool. They
They're
look so
so
awesome,
neat.
man. Heck yeah.
Ralph?
I'd go with the Clockwork Angels tour kit.
Okay.
I found a picture of Anybody Cares. It's
Yes,
it's that kid there.
Yeah,
that's sharp. Yeah,
that one's
It's a
sweet.
Ludwig super classic, man. I just love it. Anyway,
Nerd Bites, another one from Nerd Bites. Are there any Rush songs you don't like? Jim?
I think I would just kind of throw Rivendell in the I'm always gonna skip it category. I'm not gonna say I don't like it, but doesn't really do much for me, so I'll skip it.
My answer is no. Rob?
if I had to hate a song or not like it or what strong dislike, I would say Superconductor. Not a huge fan of that one. So.
Okay. Ryder?
I'm gonna go with "We Hold On" from Snakes and Arrows, and not for anything involving the song like in and of itself. I think it's a greatly written song, but there's a very noticeable cut in like by the end of one of the choruses and into the verses that every time I hear it, it's like such a drastic switch. I just have to switch it off. It just takes me out of the song. If that wasn't there, it'd definitely be up there as one of my favorites, though. So let's just say Rivendell.
Good.
Wow. What a
crafty.
switch. Yeah, that was crafty.
Yeah.
Ralph?
It's tough. I'd say of all like the classic Rush songs, Lakeside Park, I'd like the least.
Oh,
Okay.
Oh.
All right.
I forgot. Yeah,
Oh,
Stick
oh.
It Out season 2. I
Yes,
forgot. You
right,
never
check
really-
out Stick It Out.
Yeah,
it
check out
hurts,
Stick
it
It Out
hurts,
season
it
2.
hurts,
Me
it
and
hurts.
Ralph had a
There
lot
we go.
of
There
back
you
and forth
go.
on that.
Yeah, some Chris of Steel loving for you right there.
There you go.
Ooh.
All right. This one's from Crucify 40. Which Rush album recorded sounds the best versus those that don't sound so good? All right. Okay. So let's kind of tweak this. What Rush album do you think sounds not so good? Sound quality wise, I guess. We'll rephrase this a little bit.
I think sound quality wise, Roll the Bones is very thin, from the recording quality. Nothing at all to do with the songs.
Right.
And when they played those live, they freaking sounded killer. But the quality of Roll the Bones is kind of
Yeah, I mean for me that's the obvious answer, but I'll say the original Vapor Trails because I'm fully on board with. I think the remix sounds much better.
Yeah.
Why would the band bother doing a remixed version if they were happy with the original material, right? I mean,
true. Good point.
You can prefer whatever you want, but why would the band do it again? Rob.
Yeah, I concur with that. I think that's why they did the get together at for Snakes and Arrows because they wanted better drum sound. So I agree with that. That's the first release of Vapor Trails. Yep.
It was over in the Catskills, right? That was
Yeah.
I thought it was Bear Tracks, but I think I got the wrong studio name.
I
It's
don't
in
think
the
that's what it's
Catskills.
called. Yeah, it's in the Catskill Mountains.
It
Yeah.
is in Catskills, yes.
It's the old
Yep.
P&G house.
Ryder?
I'm gonna have to go with Roll the Bones. I would have said Presto. I've historically cut a lot of flack for that album because of the bass tone, but hearing that, now knowing what I know about basses and stuff, I appreciate that it like kind of honed in on the like weird mids of the wall. So I'm probably gonna have to go with Roll the Bones. I just think that album's a little thin all over.
Yeah.
Jay, Ralph?
Agreed.
We'll go with Presto for riders to do it.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's see. Well, Jim Tatro says, what are your 5 favorite and 5 least favorite songs? Well, all right, we kind of already answered that with the last one. Whether any Rush songs you don't like, so that would take too long to do, honestly.
Yeah, that's
Okay, here's a good one, I guess. Might take some thinking. This one's from Robert Denduven. How about naming each admin's worst/funniest misheard lyric from the band?
oh my gosh.
I'll go to
Like,
keep it moving.
Yeah, go.
Beneath, between, and behind. Instead of behind the beauty cracks appears, it's behind the booty cracks appears.
Yeah.
Anyone else who has
I
one?
had
I don't know who said it. The good old classic. There's no bread, lemony cake. That one was always really fun.
I was gonna
say.
that one.
There's no end to what they'll bake.
Yeah.
so funny.
If you guys don't have any, that's fine. We did a whole episode on misheard Rush
No.
lyrics, so
we
go back
we
and watch.
did, and I thought I heard all right, now let's skip it. I had one for what's it called, for hemispheres, but it's going to take me a while to find it. I think I wrote it out for that episode, but I was never on it. But yeah,
mine's Red Barchetta, gulls screaming through the valley. I thought it was like birds, but it wasn't that. It was go. So I thought it was gulls, like seagulls.
Gulls.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
For all the Rye Guys viewers, I'll throw in a cellulite.
Grief. All right. All right, let's move on to Twitter here. These are some questions from Twitter. And this one's a really good one. This one's from our pal Derek Tyler 13 on Twitter. What is the best or your favorite 40th anniversary box set? So I think everything but Fly By Night and Caress of Steel got 40th anniversary box sets up until this point. So
as I have purchased 0 box sets of those, I'm going to pass.
Jim is going to pass. All right. I mean, just looking at them, probably Moving Pictures 40 because of everything that it came with. I mean, it came with the handwritten lyric sheets, which I thought were awesome. The music that, the unreleased music that it came with. I mean, some of the other ones came with music, but this one came with a whole freaking concert. So it has to be that. It was so good that we did our own unboxing of it on the channel. So that would be mine. Rob?
Ditto.
All right.
Pictures.
Ryder?
I'm gonna go with Permanent Waves, partially because it was the first Rush release, like, of anything that I was present to be a fan for, or like as a fan to be present for. And it was just so dope getting to, I got it in the mail and opening up with my dad and everything and going through everything. So Permanent Waves 40 is probably mine. And also the live album on there's awesome.
Yeah. Ralph?
Yeah, Moving Pictures because of Live and YYZ.
Cool. All right. Let's see. Some of these are trilogy or trivia. Yeah. I said trilogy because the next one I want to ask is, what's your favorite of the Fear trilogy? Yes, there's a whole bunch of trivia on here too. Again, sorry, we're skipping trivia. Google it. What's your favorite of the Fear trilogy? So of course there are 4 songs in this trilogy. So what would be your favorite of Witch Hunt, The Weapon, The Enemy Within, and Freeze?
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to go with The Weapon.
Yeah, I'm probably going to have to go with The Weapon too. although Freeze is a very close second. Rob,
I like Witch Hunt because that was the first one that I heard.
cool. Ryder,
None of them, because the Gangster of Boats trilogy is just far superior. But Witch Hunt's mine.
please explain this.
Uh,
Please explain that reference for those that don't know what you're talking about.
Wow, that
you guys
people
don't
don't
you
know
guys
it.
don't know the
They don't
Gangster of
know
Boats
it.
trilogy? Are you
Oh
kidding
my
me?
gosh.
Oh,
Yeah.
actually, I know. I'm just saying there might be people that don't know about the Gangster of Boats trilogy.
Where's
Oh my
my thing,
God.
for those that listen to it on streaming services, is actually the full title of it is Where's My Thing, Part 4 of the Gangster of Boats trilogy.
Yeah.
So if you
and-
haven't listened to the Gangster of Boats trilogy, get hip on that. It's legit.
Yeah. The funny thing is, like, if you look at it like on Spotify or any streaming services, it's probably not going to say Gangster Boat Trilogy. It's just
It
going to
does
have
not.
it's just going to have the song title. So you have to have physical media to probably know that.
Ralph,
Getty and Alex were threatening to name an album "Gangster of Boats." I'm not sure which one, but Neil didn't come up with the title, so that's what I'd go with Witch Hunt. Witch Hunt still.
okay, cool. Oh, I'm sorry. That was from Adam Low 75. So on Twitter. So apologies there. The next one here is from Jesse, the delivery guy. Handle Ups
Okay.
Love Machine, or probably UPS Love Machine. I'm going to guess because he's a delivery
Okay.
guy. Favorite Alex Lifeson guitar, Jim.
Favorite guitar from Alex? I don't really have one. I
He's
really
a
don't.
drummer. Okay, Jim's a drummer. Honestly, probably the Les Paul with the whammy. That's like a dark reddish color that he played. I think he played on like Animate on R40.
Yeah.
I always love that design. Always, I love the fact that he puts a whammy on a Les Paul too. So I had to pick one of those. Rob,
I would say the double neck, the Gibson from 70s, 80s.
Yep.
Mhm.
Ryder.
It's either a toss up between Whitey and the double neck. I can't really pick one of those. They're both just iconic.
Hmm.
The PRS is pretty cool too. I'll put that in the wheelhouse as well.
Ralph.
The Les Paul from the Exit Stage Left video.
Oh wow, that's very specific.
Yeah.
All right.
Now I got like 5 favorite Getty basses if you know if
There
you got
you
one of
go.
those questions.
All right. This one's from ST Campitelli. For a big Rush fan who never got to see them live, Australia, they never came here.
Hmm.
What's it like seeing them live?
Oh wow.
Great question.
It's a great question. I think it is a really positive, energetic, fun experience because you are hearing the music that you love, and it is so loud, not overbearing, but it is so loud. It is so clear. Their mix is absolutely fantastic. Their musicianship, as we all know, is off the charts, and you're surrounded by people who love the song, so everybody's jamming down and dancing and singing, and it's just feels like a ton of positive energy. That's what it's like for me.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the build up, the days coming up to the concert were almost as exciting as actually the day of seeing them live, like the anticipation, right? I mean, I've seen other bands, um, recently and throughout my life, Metallica, Iron Maiden, Ozzy, bands like that. I was stoked to go see them, but there was nothing like getting excited for a Rush show. There was nothing like it. I mean, you almost get nervous. You get like this pit in your stomach because you're just so hyped to go, and then you get there, and then you're so happy to be there, right? At least that's how it was for me. Um, so seeing them live, there was really just nothing else like it. It was always,
Yeah.
the big day of the year, pretty much to be able to go, to get excited for. So, Rob.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt very much the same. Seeing them and then hearing these songs live as apart from the record, because you have a whole different experience listening to the Rush records. The ones you thought were kind of wimpy, like I had a few of those, and then seeing it played live was like so potent, you know.
Yeah.
And again, same thing. The crowd, everybody's into it. Everybody's in the same headspace, and everybody's into every song. It was just great. You know, I totally miss seeing them perform, but that was the thing. It was such a cohesive thing. It's hard to explain it, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
I'm going to come back to you,
Ralph.
Ryder. I'm going to come back to you in 1 second because I have a follow-up for Ryder. All right, Ralph.
Okay.
Yeah, everything you've said, and the great thing about the concert, especially, they got better and better. The stage show, you got it's just visual, not just the audio.
Mhm.
The
Right.
props in there, it's just an amazing time, and so yeah. Sorry, leading
sure.
into
Yeah, Ryder, you saw Cinema Strangiato, yes?
I did see Cinema Strangiato.
I want you to talk about that because to someone who is in Australia, never going to see the band live, that's the next closest thing in my opinion. So
Yeah.
I want you to talk about that.
So I'll talk about the first time I saw Cinema Strangiato, because that was before I was really a Rush fan. It was really cool. My dad just offered to take me, and we met up with some of his friends at we went and got dinner right before it. And it was really cool getting to talk to other people that were just into the band, because I hadn't listened. I wasn't incredibly familiar with their discography. I was really only listening to 2-3 songs at the time. But actually being there and seeing them, I know it's not the same kind of deal. You're not dealing with a giant concert PA sound system. You're dealing with whatever Cinemark has, and you're seeing it all on a screen. But a lot of that music was just stuff that I've never experienced before. And I think definitely if you haven't seen the band live, or if you couldn't see the band live, or if you're trying to get into the band, definitely check out some live videos, because that was what really pushed me over the edge between casual listening and becoming a really big fan, and really appreciating what these guys did. It was just really great, and getting to see that they were willing to have some fun on stage, because that was when they had the Roll the Bones celebrity video for the R40 tour, which that was the show that they played for Cinema Strangiato. And then just meeting other Rush fans, that was what was really cool, because I never felt like I was ever going to be able to do that. And I know in some places, especially if you're my age, there's not a lot of people that are like-minded with listening, but Cinema Strangiato is just amazing. I've gone to similar things for some other bands like the Grateful Dead, and I just think it's really great. If you ever get the opportunity to watch a concert in a movie theater with fans, do it 100%. It's great.
Yeah.
2 things. To Ryder's point, if you never properly made Rush friends, come join us on a Rush Roundtable. We have the greatest freaking community you could possibly have. Second thing is, I saw the second one during, I think it was 2021.
Yep, I went to that one as well.
It's the closest possible thing you could get to it. It was the type of thing where, now I didn't get as excited as I was going to see a Rush show, but it was as close as you're going to get now. So if Cinema Strangiato comes to your city, if they do it again, I know they said see you next year at the end of the 2021 one. There was nothing this year, unfortunately. So I would assume there are at least plans to do something at some point. I know nothing, honestly, no, absolutely nothing. But you would assume that there would be plans. So go see them in Cinema Strangiato if you have the opportunity, because it's the closest thing you're going to get. All right. So last one from Twitter before we move to the Instagram questions. This one's from David Sanders on Twitter. I feel as though I may be in a somewhat unique situation because my favorite Rush album does not contain my favorite song of theirs. My favorite song is Witch Hunt, but my favorite album is Power Windows. Do any of you experience anything similar?
Yeah.
Jim?
My favorite song is Xanadu, and my favorite album probably Grace Under Pressure or Signals. So it's the same thing, right? So
yep, same exact thing for me too. I mean, I think when we asked this earlier, 2 favorite albums, Power Windows and Snakes and Arrows for me. But if anyone asks my favorite song, I always say Subdivision. So I'm in the same boat.
Yep.
Rob?
I'm definitely more into the longer tunes. I would say The Camera Eye is like a really big favorite.
So that differs from Moving Pictures is not your favorite album, correct?
I definitely like all of it. I'm trying to think of it. I mean, the song is great. I mean, I don't know, maybe just I don't like where it's put on the album.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Ryder?
Yeah, I mean, my favorite Rush song kind of bounces wherever. Signals overall is probably my favorite Rush album. And, there's a million great songs all over the discography. I think probably overall my favorite song, like if you were to stack them all next to each other, is probably Cygnus X1. Yeah, you don't exactly have
Book one
to
or two?
book one.
Or two. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you don't necessarily have to make your favorite album the one that your favorite song's on.
Right.
I'm sure there's a billion people on the planet whose favorite song is 2112, but their favorite album is Test for Echo. So, there's a lot of people like that. I'm sure. That's at least what I'm telling myself.
Are there even a billion people on the planet? I don't know what that number is.
I don't
Anyway.
know.
I think 9 or 7.
8 billion.
8 billion. There you go. Okay.
And all of them are Test for Echo fans. What's up, Ralph?
Yeah.
And 1 billion of them are Rush fans. Okay. Ralph.
Yeah, so I listed Power Windows, my favorite, and my favorite song would be Natural Science.
So there you go.
Yeah.
5 for 5.
There we go.
All right. Let's see. Moving over to Instagram. This one's from @fundirector_. Favorite 80s album. Jim.
Favorite 80s album. Oh God. Signals.
For me, be Power Windows. Yeah. Power Windows for me. Rob.
Ooh, yeah. I would say Signals.
Ryder, you already answered this, right?
Signals.
Ralph, you already answered
Power
this.
Windows.
Power
Yep.
Windows. A lot of 80s fans in here. All right.
Yeah.
Let's see. Here's one from Viens Jess. VIENSJESS. Best Rush lyrics, or I guess in your what is your favorite Rush lyrics?
I do like the lyric in Prime Mover. The point of a journey is not to arrive. I think it's actually saying a whole lot. So I love that one.
All right. Mine would probably have to be the end of Everyday Glory, the entire verse at the end of Everyday Glory, though we know, or what is it? It's, though we know that time has wings, we're the ones that have to,
We're those who have to fly.
Yeah.
Though
The whole
we
verse.
know that time has wings, we're the ones who have to fly.
There you go. That's how it ends. Yeah. But the
Yeah.
whole verse would probably
That
be,
whole thing. Yeah.
is
That's
just,
yeah.
it's
That's
yeah.
amazing.
Phenomenal. Yeah.
Mhm.
Rob?
I definitely concur with that. It's very inspirational, that tune.
Cool. Ryder?
From the past, someone said a bad example makes surrender seem all right. The act of a noble warrior who lost his will to fight. Definitely very poignant lyric, timeless, honestly.
Mhm.
Christ, what have you done?
That's
So
that
good.
comes after them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Ralph?
Mine would be from Faithless, like a flower in the
Oh.
desert that only blooms at night. I will quietly resist.
That's a great one.
Good
That's
choice.
awesome. That's
Mhm.
awesome.
All right. This one I read a couple weeks back, and I thought this was a really good one. This one's from Middletown Dreamer 2112. What Rush song do you love more than normal? So, for example, like one that no one seems to love as much as you do. So, one that resonates with you that you think the fan base doesn't really resonate with as much as it does for you.
I would probably have to go with the Fountain of Lemnos.
For me, it would be one of two songs from Snakes and Arrows, either The Larger Bowl or Good News First, both of which resonate with me like crazy. I think they're fantastic songs that get no love. So, Rob,
I'm gonna make a choice, kind of bold. I always say Tai Shan.
Ah,
I'm a freak. I like that song. I don't know.
it's a good song. Really good song.
And I think it should have been the last song on Hold Your Fire. And then
Ah,
high water before that. That's
okay.
could have a whole debate on that. Ryder,
This might be a personal thing. I'm gonna go with Armor and Sword. For some reason, I've heard a lot of people, especially the people I've talked to in person, they aren't as big on Armor and Sword, but I'll say it. I'm sure Ryan will say it because I know he adores this song. It's phenomenal. It's literally one of Rush's best songs. I'd put it in my top 10, honestly.
I would too. Ralph,
I'd go Secret Touch. When I heard it, I thought it'd be the next Tom Sawyer, but obviously that didn't happen.
That song's phenomenal.
It's fantastic. Great
Cool.
song.
All right, this one's from Steve Shooter. What song or songs do you think are best for introducing people to Rush other than the obvious stuff on Moving Pictures? So why don't we all pick one, and then why don't we all pick one different one? So we'll have five songs here. That
I know nobody has what I have. I'm very
Oh, do we want to go out of order? and have
yeah,
you
go ahead,
first then?
Ryder.
okay. I'm gonna do the song that got my roommate into Rush. Out of every
Okay.
song that he listened to, he did not gel with the band until he listened to Virtuality. Believe it or
Really?
not.
Oh,
That
Wow.
was the first Rush song that he ever added to his library.
Wow.
That I think he had YYZ beforehand, but like Virtuality was the first song that he was like, okay,
All right.
you know.
All
Who
right.
wants to go next?
I'd say Peaceful Kingdom. That's a really heavy one.
All right.
That's really, yeah, for any metalheads, that's a great one.
So we've got
Right.
two completely
Super
random
band.
songs. All right, Jim and
Very
Ralph.
random.
Thinking Dreamline.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that's a really good one. Really catchy. I was thinking catchy
Yeah.
too. This might be kind of a cop out. I could come up with a whole bunch of other ones, but I really think if you're really trying to get someone into Rush, go with Time Stand Still because it's so poppy, it's catchy, but it also is Rush too. Like you still hear Rush in it, so it's got a good mix of everything for someone trying to get them into Rush.
I would go with something that's a bit more on their straight ahead side, I guess we'll call it that. I would go with something like Entre Nous.
Yeah, okay.
Mhm.
So there you go. Entree New. What did I just say? Time Stand Still. Rob
Says
said
still.
Peaceable Kingdom.
Peaceable
Peaceable
Kingdom.
Kingdom.
Ryder said Virtuality.
Virtuality.
And Ralph said Dreamline. So there you go.
It's a
It's
hell of a
a-
starter playlist.
There it is. It's pretty varied too. you
Yeah.
know? All different albums, right?
Mhm.
We all hit different
Yeah.
albums too, didn't we?
This next one's from Drew Chrisman, 1970. Favorite warm-up act that toured with Rush.
Ah.
Jim?
Okay, so for the ones that I have seen personally, I have two favorites. One is the Steve Morse Band, which was basically the Dixie Dregs, but the Steve Morse Band, right? If any of you guys out there know the Dregs, awesome, great stuff.
Mhm.
The other favorite warm-up act was Mr. Big. I thought they were fantastic. One of my favorite rock drummers, Pat Torpey, rest in peace, Pat. Such an awesome player. Those are mine.
For me, I mean, I never saw Rush with a warm-up act, obviously. First show was in 2010, but of the bands that toured with them, probably Blue Oyster Cult would be. Which I think they toured with them, right? I mean, did anyone
Yeah,
see?
they did, like, but early.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Rob?
I think, and don't quote me 100%, but I think Marillion during the Hold Your Fire tour at Madison Square Garden. I think, so that was pretty good.
I think they switched.
If they were
out
there that
warm-up.
night, yeah, because I always
I
had to
think
see the
they-
band. I never really paid attention to who opened up. I was
Yeah.
like, I want to see Rush, but I think Marillion. You can correct
Yeah.
me if I'm wrong, but
Okay, Ryder?
Cool.
Probably I'm gonna have to go with Primus. Primus sucks.
Yeah, Primus sucks.
Primus sucks.
Ralph?
Go with Mr. Big too. They're the only band I saw that I knew before I went to the concert.
Mr. Big's a very close second for me, just for
Oh,
Billy
man.
Sheehan, man.
Billy Sheehan,
Oh
right.
yeah. What
Un-
a fantastic lineup they had, man.
Mhm.
I could talk for an hour about just them.
Next one's from Seacon 7031. Better song, Kid Gloves or Vital Signs?
Ooh.
Rapid fire. Better song,
Ah.
Kid Gloves or Vital Signs? Jim.
Vital signs.
Vital Signs for me. Rob.
Same.
Vital signs.
Ralph.
K close. K close.
All right. There you go.
It was a hard one.
This one's from Brennan Gut.
Who's that?
Who's that?
I don't know.
This one was left by
That's good.
Rob. Rob, of course, is in the top right. This was left by Rob. What? I'm not gonna be able to speak to this because I have no idea. This is a Jim question. What cymbal company do you prefer more with Neil's kit? Sabian or I don't even know how you pronounce that.
Zildjian.
Zildjian, yeah, Zildjian.
Zildjian.
Tell us, Jim, which do you prefer more?
Sabian and the Paragon line. Sabian Paragon stuff that Neil worked with the guys in Sabian to develop.
Rob, what you pose this, what would you say?
I prefer Zildjian because that's the first sound I heard from Neil, and it always has that nostalgia. And I feel he sounds better on Zildjian, but I understand why he went Sabian because he want that handcrafted situation and the sound and everything else. So, but I prefer Zildjian.
Yeah, cool.
I think the Sabians sound great, but I'm gonna go with Zildjian just because I've used whenever I've recorded stuff and we've had a drummer in the studio. It's always been Zildjian. I just never went wrong with those.
Ralph, do you have a preference?
I do not.
Okay. All right. This one's from Brew Homestead.
I feel like I'm gonna get a stern talking to after.
No, not at all. I'm just gonna say, whenever you're in the studio and you get to record with a drummer who has Pisces, let me know.
I have. Yes.
Let me know. That's all. No talking to it all, man. Not at all.
This one's from Brew Homestead. I recently realized how depressing some of the lyrics are. What are your top 5 depressing Rush lyrics? Let's go with one. We'll get a list of 5 between all of us. What is your most depressing Rush lyric?
I think the one that sticks in my head immediately is the beginning of Everyday Glory. Shoot, I can't even remember the lyric. No. I'll look it up. You guys
in the house where nobody is that right?
Nobody laughs, I think.
Yeah. It's the one about yelling at the girl and she's holding her ears until the tear stops.
Yeah. Until the pain disappears.
Right.
Yeah. It's that lyric. That one gets me like I get teary on that one. The visual is insanely depressing.
Yeah. Anybody else can go because that wants to go that has one in mind because I'm still thinking myself. I have a cop-out answer, but
the past in the beginning for me is that way.
The past,
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Ralph.
The first one that popped in my head was Red Sector A. Are these last ones?
Oh god. Yeah.
Can't imagine feeling that way.
Yeah, Red Sector A is definitely, helped my mother stand up straight. I talked about the past earlier. I think obviously, that one's very, emotional, but I'm gonna go with for this one at the end of Soliloquy from 2112. I don't think I can carry on this cold, empty life. My spirits are low in the depths of despair. My lifeblood spills over. Like,
yeah.
I mean, for me, I thought it was a cop-out answer that one of you would choose, but it's pretty much all of losing it.
Yeah.
Like, take your pick. I mean, take your pick. All right. This one, I'm gonna answer this just because I see this question freaking on Facebook all the time. This is from @mywitsend84. Do you know if Rush will put out a box set for the Signals album? My answer to that is patience. Next question. This one's from Chris Baranoff. I personally think Permanent Waves is a much better album than Moving Pictures. Why is Permanent Waves never mentioned in the same way as Moving Pictures? You can see the progression towards it, and that moving forwards to a different style is what makes me enjoy the album even more. So in summary, the question is, why is Permanent Waves not talked about in the same vein as Moving Pictures?
I think it's interesting because whoever wrote the comment mentioned in there, they can see how the progression is getting there before the arrival. That's kind of how I heard it. I personally think it's because Moving Pictures was that arrival and Permanent Waves is the progression. That's why I think it is the case. I personally absolutely love Permanent Waves. I think it's a stellar album with fantastic songs that can stand up to anything. But Moving Pictures also spawned off a whole bunch of hits too. All of side one is basically a hit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I agree with everything you just said, Jim, but I'm gonna actually twist this a bit, and I think Permanent Waves is talked about in the same vein as Moving Pictures. I mean, Moving Pictures is, I think any Rush fan can objectively say that is the best Rush album, but I think Permanent Waves is just right there below it. There's still the prog influences. It's not as mainstream, and I think that's why it's probably not talked about in the same vein. There's, like Jim said, there's 4 hits on the front on side A. You hear them on the radio all the time, and occasionally you'll hear Vital Signs on the radio, right? Or sometimes on like deep tracks or whatever, you might hear the Camera Eye or Witch Hunt. You'll hear all of them on the radio. Spirit of Radio, Free Will, You Will on Permanent Waves. The other 4 you generally won't.
Yeah.
So I think it's just because there's probably my answer is Moving Pictures gets more radio play than Permanent Waves as a whole, and that's probably why it's not talked about in the same vein. But in terms of the Rush community, I think we hold them both in pretty high regard. I would say. Rob?
Yeah, I definitely agree with all that. Permanent Waves was like the sort of progression to the more tighter arrangements that you would find on Moving Pictures. So that was like kind of like the guinea pig in a way. But but they couldn't let go of the full longer tunes. With the Camera Eye was like that last sort of valiant effort of keeping the longer tunes. But I think just overall, Moving Pictures has more tighter arranged tunes than say Permanent Waves, if you were to compare them together. But I love both albums. There's no way you can't love both of them.
Yeah, I definitely agree with what Jim said about, in terms of like, people are trying to compare the two. Permanent Waves is definitely the very in lead up to what Moving Pictures would be. But I think those albums, back to back, I think that's probably the best 2 albums they released like in a row. I honestly see them on even ground. They're both phenomenal. They have incredible strengths. They still have some prog influence, and they're still experimental in the fact of, Permanent Wave started moving towards shorter form songs, but still wanted to, have a lot of complex instrumentation. And, Moving Pictures had synthesizers, and an album like that they hadn't really done before. I'd call that progressive. I think I think those albums back to back are just phenomenal. And I think, if there are people that aren't really digging Permanent Waves, show it to them again. I think it's a really great listen.
Ralph?
Yeah, earlier I listed Natural Science as my favorite song, but because it is that progression from the epics to the more traditional, I guess you'd call it, song. So yeah, it is progression, and I think it's as good as Moving Pictures, but I think just Moving Pictures is more popular, like you said, for the radio play.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I add a super fast thing for that? I think if we're talking about sort of the non-Rush nerds like we all are, then Moving Pictures is that one that the general public knows better, or the songs from Moving Pictures the general public knows better. Not necessarily the crazy Rush nerds like me and these guys, right? But the general public.
Sure. This one's from Stonehenge 3. Neil often said he was embarrassed about his pre-1980s lyrics. Which song do you think he found most cringeworthy? I think Hemispheres.
Oh, wow. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what he found cringeworthy, but I will say this though about the trees, that he wrote that in like absolutely no time flat because he saw a story or something written like a cartoon about trees fighting. He's like, hey, wouldn't that be kind of hilarious? So to me, it almost seemed like he did not put this massive like thought and this means this and this is owed to this and things like that. I have no idea. I don't consider it cringeworthy. I don't know if he considered it cringeworthy ever, but I think that was one that he knocked out like that.
So I don't think he thought his lyrics were cringeworthy. I think he changed his stance on a lot of his worldviews and political views, and
Sure.
And that's why he thinks some of them are cringeworthy, right? So perhaps some of the lyrics on Anthem, or some of the things he, some of his beliefs at the time were a lot different than when he probably made this quote, right? So I think that's what he means by cringeworthy. So yeah, I mean the trees, maybe some of the lyrics on Anthem, some of the lyrics that were, this whole Ayn Rand philosophy.
Yeah.
That's what I think he is. I'd never heard this quote, so that Neil mentioned, but that this user mentioned, but that's my thoughts on it. Rob?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think when you're younger and you are creating something, you look back on it later on and I feel like, oh, why did I do that? It's like a lot of naivete, perhaps. But as you get older, you start to flex and change. But I think overall for Neil, he always had the idea of craftsmanship in lyrics, no matter what. He was always attentive to that because he's writing for the listener. He wants to present something that he crafted, and there's details in the craftsmanship that he wanted people to recognize. Otherwise, he wouldn't have put them there. So I don't know if I agree with the cringeworthy idea of it, but I think just when you look back in hindsight, I think that's something that you could evaluate about your own craft, so to speak.
Yeah.
Ryder?
Nope.
You're on mute.
I was muted. Yeah, might be. I don't think any of them are necessarily cringeworthy. I think if there's anything, definitely what you guys said about like the political beliefs and stuff. But I mean, if I had to go with one, I think I'm going ball. It's probably a pretty. I think that's a pretty easy, stamp.
I almost.
Not saying I don't dislike that song. It has honestly one of my favorite Alex guitar parts. But
so great.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Ralph?
It's a great album, Ralph.
It is.
I had reread all of Neil's books this year, and I think at some point he kind of mentioned this where he felt like it was good, but it felt like the kindergarten art that your parents hang on the refrigerator when as they're building, that's they're starting off, but it's all out there for the world. So he gets a little embarrassed about that, I guess. And if I had to pick a song, Lakeside Park.
Of course.
Wow.
Oh gosh. All right.
So many
and
memories.
The final fan question is from Not the Real Ralph Macchio, who is also known as Jerry from the Something for Nothing podcast. He asks, how much wood would Geddy Lee chuck if Geddy Lee could chuck wood?
21 12 pieces.
That was my answer too.
Quit chucking my wood.
Yeah, I'll go with that. 2,112 pieces.
Oh, there you go. Rob or Ralph, how much wood could Geddy Lee chuck if Geddy Lee could chuck wood?
It's a far cry to say.
Blue. I have no
Blue.
logical answer.
I think you got to be in the mood to answer that one right.
There you go. All right, guys. Well, we'll wrap there. That's all the fan questions that were not trivia. We got through every single one of them.
Cool.
So, yeah, I mean, let us know what, answer some of the questions in the comments, please. Hopefully you got to know 5 of our channel regulars and page admins a little bit better and what their preferences are, because that was kind of the whole point of this. And yeah, if it's a new year, right? 2023. So if you've been meaning to reach out to us to come on an episode, make that your New Year's resolution and actually reach out to us. Come join the community. Come talk Rush with the best community there is. And yeah, lots of surprises coming up, lots of fun episodes for this calendar year. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Take care, everybody.